Georgia Dome is sold out as we continue the best kickoff weekend in college football history with Kirby Smart's debut as the head coach of Georgia. And we welcome back Dog star running back Nick Chubb. Squaring off with Georgia will be quarterback Mike Trubinsky and North Carolina in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. Now, welcome to the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, presented by Hampton by Hilton. The Georgia Dome is sold out. Plenty of Dogs fans have made the drive down to see their Georgia Bulldogs take on the Tar Heels of North Carolina as we continue the best ever opening weekend in college football history. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart. Allison Williams will join us in just a moment. We knew that the college football playoff was going to create a lot of end-of-season drama. But those of us that do this for a living always hoped that it would drive teams to build those resumes and give us games like we've got here and the rest of this weekend. Could you ask for a better weekend of college football?
No. And this is what we all wanted, but this is what the committee needs. This is exactly what college football should look like. And Bob, based on the resume of the schedule for the rest of the season for both of these clubs, this one's imperative. If there's any dreams or aspirations of winning the national championship and playing in January, they have to win today. That's the significance of this afternoon and what's a sold-out place that's ready for some football.
Well, also ready for some football is the new head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart. We met with him. You sensed some nerves, but he's certainly been through this before.
Yeah, I sense some. I want to go hit somebody as a former safety for Georgia. That's what I sense. There's two things that, to me, have to stand out today. A calm within a storm. This is the first time that he's going to hear the kind of chaos on his headsets between special teams, offense, defense, and you know there's going to be some level of adversity with as good as North Carolina is offensively. The second thing, like Nick Saban, his mentor for 9 years, he has to have an answer. He's got to be a step ahead when that adversity hits. A lot of young people on special teams. It'll be a fascinating watch for the entire game and the head coach in particular.
Well, he had a quarterback controversy to deal with through summer camp. We'll talk about that coming up a short time from now. But Allison Williams down on the field. If you're a brand new head coach, though, Allison, it's nice to have the security blanket back at running back. Nick Chubb returns.
Yeah, that's heck of a security blanket that he has in Nick Chubb, who just over 10 months after tearing multiple ligaments in his knee will make his return for the Bulldogs. From what I saw in practice and from what coaches said, he has looked terrific. Didn't wear anything on that knee when I saw him, but tonight he will wear a protective sleeve. They're not going to necessarily limit his carries, but they will monitor him for fatigue. Make sure he's still being efficient, because they noticed in practice as he got tired, there was a bit of a limp. As for his backup, Sony Michel, who did warm up, he will not play, still having that fractured left forearm not completely healed. Bob?
This game has been sold out for weeks. And let's let you take in the sights and sounds of a packed Georgia Dome as Kirby Smart about to lead his Dogs through the tunnel for the first time. Bob Wischusen and Brock Ewart, Allison Williams again here in Atlanta. Now, if you're Larry Fedora, you're used to putting up big offensive numbers in Chapel Hill, but not normally when you say goodbye to a quarterback. Marquise Williams leaves. His #1 target leaves as well, and yet they seem more confident this year in their offense than they ever have. Why?
I think I can say confidently in 9 years of doing this job, I've never heard a coach in a program as confident and as trustworthy in a quarterback that has never started a game, but that's exactly the case with Mike Trubinsky. He has engendered that kind of belief. I think because of his sacrifice to the program as a redshirt junior, he stuck around. When most kids quit and leave a program, he didn't. And secondly, he can really spin the ball. He's a better passer than Marquise. He will open more parts of their playbook because of that arm, and they believe in his talents and his skill set.
As it will be Georgia starting with the football. The Dogs won the toss, elected to receive. They've got Reggie Davis back to receive the opening kick. Nick Weiler set to send it deep. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game is underway. And it's going to come out to the 25-yard line. Well, we mentioned that there was a quarterback controversy this summer. And that's what's going to come when you've got the #1 recruit in America on your campus. But that's not who's starting. Brock, you mentioned trust. And that seemed to be the #1 factor in why Kirby Smart picked Grayson Lambert to start this game.
28 games, started 12 last year, went 10-2, and he's got the trust not necessarily of the coaching staff, but of the players around him, and that's most important. He can communicate, he can manage the game. Eventually, you're going to see Jacob Eason. The skill set's too good, but to manage everything early, as much as Jim Chaney wants to do, he puts it on the senior that's been there and done it before.
And a carry for Nick Chubb to start. Off to a pretty good start. The stiff arm, 6 yards. And speaking of Nick Chubb, let's take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players.
I'd expect 20-plus carries. I don't care about the fatigue in the knee or the limp. He's your best player. This is a tailback-driven offense, and he's got to get the touches. One of the best in America. On the other side, Donnie Miles was a leading tackler a year ago, a strong safety. He's going to be active today. And watch M.J. Stewart. He plays corner. He plays nickel. He was the 4th leading tackler last year to go with his 4 interceptions. Tremendous player out on the edge.
Chubb tries to get outside and does. Off to a terrific start, showing no ill effects of what was about as gruesome an injury as there was in all of football, college, pro, or any level last season, when he tore every ligament but the ACL in his left knee after he had gotten off to about as good a start as a player could get off to, rushing for over 100 yards in every one of the first 7 games last year.
You give a tip of the cap to Christian Payne there, the fullback. He set that edge. You let the bowling ball get going, he's going to knock down the pins.
Chubb now picks up the blitz. Lambert, though, has the rest of the pocket collapse. The Heels get there, and they've got their first sack. That's a loss of 2. Malik Carney was in on the rush. Mikey Bart might have gotten there first.
When you're into the boundary, Bob, in college football, it's a real short sprint for that corner to bring a corner blitz. After 2 runs, Jim Chaney, there, the offensive coordinator, Jim's trying to set up some play action pass naturally. And kudos to Gene Chizik on the other side. He brings the corner blitz. Grayson doesn't see it. The negative play on first down.
Draw play to Chubb, right up the gut. And it will be 3rd down and about 6. Jeremiah Clark tripped up Nick Chubb. So now the first time it might be on the shoulders of Grayson Lambert, as this seems like a pretty obvious passing down. Brendan Douglas replaces Nick Chubb. He's in the backfield to the left of Lambert. Carolina brings another blitz, untouched off the edge. Down goes Grayson Lambert for a 2nd time. Des Lawrence off the corner. And the Heels give up a Nick Chubb first down, and then they get the stop.
Gene Chizik didn't know till this week which guy he was going to see at quarterback. Really doesn't matter because they're both pocket passers. And when you play a guy that likes to play between the tackles, bring that edge pressure. They did it on the early down, the first down, the corner blitz. And once again, from the short side, there simply is not much real estate to get home. Grayson's got to have a little better feel for that. I'm looking at a guy whose eyes right now are just focused down the field on one read, not a whole field read, where he's got to see that corner pressure.
True freshman from Australia, punting, and a good one. Marshall Long gets it away, and boy, is there a dangerous return man back there in Ryan Switzer with a flag down. We'll have to check the penalty marker thrown back at the line of scrimmage.
5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
Well, North Carolina wants to put their offense out there right now as we take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players when the Heels have the football.
And Georgia wants to slow the game down. Carolina wants to speed it up. They've got a battering ram in Elijah Hood as well. 1,400 yards a season ago. Mac Hollins, their big play threat outside, suspended for the first half because of a targeting in the second half of the bowl game. Worth keeping an eye on the other side. I want to see Lorenzo Carter in his 6'6" frame come to life. The perfect defense to do it. And Dominic Sanders led the SEC in picks a year ago. He's a ball hawk.
Trubisky with a handoff to Elijah Hood and moves the pile for about 3 yards. Well, you said, and both head coaches said, they were going to have their eye on the pit to start this game, and that would be the initial indicator as to how they thought tonight would go.
And I love the word surge. A zone team, you want to see that push at the line of scrimmage.
Little wide receiver screen. Austin Kroll is bottled up. That brings up a third down for Carolina.
And that's Prohl in the place of Hollins. And they've done this throughout camp. Prohl's a little bit more of a slot guy, but he's earned the right to start outside. They really miss Mac Hollins. He's the voice. He's the captain. He's a big play threat down the field. And here's an awfully big third down for the first-time starter in Trubisky.
Third down and a long 5, close to 6. Four-man rush for the Dogs. The screen set up for Switzer. He's not going to get there. He picked up about 4. Maurice Smith, who came over after a off-season drama as a transfer from Alabama. He's spending his grad year here with his old coaches, and he was there to make the stop. 3 downs and out for North Carolina.
And already the chess piece is moving. Larry Fedora's got a new offensive coordinator this year. Kirby loves it. Carolina's expecting some pressure there from Kirby Smart on third down. No, he loves to bring that from his days at Bama. They run the little jailbreak screen, not enough yardage for the third down conversion. You run that screen expecting a blitz. It's a boom or bust play. And a bust there for the Tar Heels.
Tom Sheldon is also a true freshman punter. And this one an end-over-end kick. Fair catch is made at about the 21-yard line by an all-SEC return man, Isaiah McKenzie. Back to the offense for Georgia when we return. Grayson Lambert is out there for the second time. Georgia starting at their own 21-yard line. Lambert bullets one over the middle. Isaiah McKenzie picks up the first down on 3rd and long. A gain of 26.
Some disadvantages to being a statue in the pocket. So you can get different blitzes. It'll hit you. This time, just a little stunt up front from Carolina. 4-man rush doesn't get home. And the 6'5" Lambert scans the field, throws the in cut on time, gives McKenzie, the human joystick, an opportunity to move the sticks.
Nick Chubb for 2.5 yards. Let's go down to Allison.
When Nick Chubb was on the sideline with that offensive line, you could see him just trying to get them fired up, for them to match the emotion he's playing with. He was pounding on their shoulder pads, high-fiving them. You can tell how much it means to him to be back out there on the field. The message to the offensive line, though, from Jim Chaney was to settle down. He said, you're seeing new stuff. Don't overreact.
Play action for Lambert. Pops one underneath, and that one about 1.5 yards shy of the first down to Michael Chigbu. Well, so far that offensive line has had some good moments and some shaky moments. Obviously, picking up the blitz is always a challenge when you're out there for the first time against a defense that might be changing things up from last year.
To be expected. You return 3 starters, but a couple of them are new spots. I think your most productive lineman moves out to right tackle in Pike. Transfer comes in, 5th-year graduate senior in Catalina to play left tackle. Lots of different moving parts. And promise you this, they don't have preseason to get the butterflies out.
There is Tyler Catalina. 3rd down and 1. Chubb very close to the first down. He will be marked right on our first down line. It looks as if it's going to be good enough. And it is, without measurement, a Georgia first down.
Donnie Miles was going to be one of my impact players. Watch him here. You've got 2 guys in the same gap. He's got to be responsible here. He is that unblocked defender. When you get in those short yardage situations, you can't have 2 guys in the same gap responsibility.
Another delayed handoff to Nick Chubb. Into the secondary. Carrying tacklers to the 22. And a late flag thrown as well.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 12. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. Automatic. First down.
That's a middle linebacker, Andre Smith, had the nice stick earlier. That time he's caught watching. He's a half step behind, and you just can't do that with Nick Chubb. The hand on the headgear, and there's the face mask late as well.
That's Tamon Fox, true freshman, playing defensive end as Andre Smith went for a piggyback ride. So Chubb gets a rest. Brendan Douglas is the lone setback, now in the eye on first down in the red zone. He gets the handoff. He gets to the 5. Keeps driving the pile. A helmet off as well through the back of the end zone. That's Christian Payne, the fullback, who lost his helmet, so he'll have to leave for a play as they will mark forward progress. Brendan Douglas down at the 6-yard line, a gain of 5.
So difficult to have patience. We always think of that with a quarterback and his decision making, but it's also offensive linemen. When they pull, it's running backs to trust that those big fellas in front of them are going to get to that spot. There's a level of cohesion and timing that's involved with those guys in this kind of run system as well. It's coming to life on this drive.
Another handoff. To the 2-yard line goes Brendan Douglas. Georgia can get a first down inside the 1, so that brings up Brock here a big third down. Now you can hear the Dogs fans reacting. Third down and short, in tight. Nick Chubb's back in the huddle.
Well, if you've got guts, and Jim Chaney's been around a long time, you play pass here. And you tell yourself, I got 2 downs to get a yard. You want to get your quarterback really feeling good about himself. You know North Carolina is going to commit to stopping 27. Could be a wonderful opportunity for a play-action pass.
2 true freshman tight ends on either side of the line. Instead, it's Chubb. He does it himself. That's a Georgia touchdown. Welcome back, Nick Chubb. The 22nd career rushing touchdown for Nick Chubb. Grayson Lambert with a big third down throw on that drive as well. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams back at the Georgia Dome. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game, the early lead to Georgia. TJ Logan from the 5. Out to the 23. That's where North Carolina will have the football. So Brock, now it's back to Mitch Trubisky to at least try to get field position flipped and a little momentum going offensively. Quick hitch again. Nothing there. Ryan Switzer blown up by Malcolm Parrish.
Well, you got to get a first down so you can get your tempo going. This is really a wonderful tale of 2 very different styles. This is your old school boxing match with one that just wants to wear you down, the other that wants to play up tempo and knock you out early. Carolina's so good last year at those chunk plays, but in order to get that tempo, you got to get a first down.
Trubisky, long throw across the field. He's got one-on-one out on the edge. Chris Francis, nice open field tackle by Maurice Smith. A gain of maybe 1.5 yards. So now it's third down and 8.
I'll tell you what else you got to do. You got to get your best player the ball, and that's Elijah Hood. You see the other side with Georgia and Jim Chaney in their script, making sure that Chubb touches it again and again and again. You do not want to go 2 series without really feeling the impact of Hood.
5-man rush. Trubisky given time and delivers a strike for a first down. That's his tight end, Carl Tucker, and a gain of 10. And that will take us to the end of the first quarter. A slugfest here between Georgia and North Carolina. 1 quarter in the books at the Georgia Dome. Welcome back to the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, presented by Hampton by Hilton. And there's a happy Dogs fan down on the sideline. Steelers legend Hines Ward, who of course did work in Athens from 1994 to 1997. And he was firing up the crowd before this game this afternoon. Trubisky well protected here. Looking for the deep ball to Bug Howard. Just overthrows his 6'5" senior target.
And I like the shot, and that's going to be Mac Hollins in the third quarter. Bug is their one-on-one guy, their 50-50 guy, big frame guy, but it's Mac Hollins who is suspended again. I think worth noting, suspended for this first half because of a targeting call in a bowl game, which I think is utterly ridiculous. But that will be him in the second half. They're missing that big play threat down the field.
Here's TJ Logan. Breaks a tackle in the backfield. Gets to the edge. TJ Logan. Another gear all the way down inside the 20. He turns a loss into a big gain. And Carolina's in the red zone. A gain of 35. Another handoff and a cutback to TJ Logan. At the pylon, he's brought down. First and goal, North Carolina at the 3.
And that's changed pace. And TJ's been a highly productive player. And you're not just going to get Elijah Hood. You're going to get a senior that's been there and done it before and shows you the quickness to get outside.
They put him at the 1-yard line. Play action. Trubisky. He'll walk into the end zone. That's a Tar Heel touchdown. They got a little cute, and it worked.
They did, and I said to you earlier, the QB run game is going to look different this year. It's not QB counter, QB power, and everything Marquise brought to the table last year, but Trubisky's actually faster. And he sells this beautifully. Look at the ball in the gut. It's the attention to detail right there. That's what sells the play. Why in run drills do you work on your fundamentals? Why do you put the ball in your gut? Because you hide it from the defense, and you give yourself an opportunity to outflank them when they lose contain and they lose sight of the ball. And the true freshman, David Marshall, excuse me, Bob, the culprit. True freshman on the field in their very first action. Losing sight, not a surprise.
Well, that was the first jersey that Kirby Smart grabbed when he came over to the sideline. As a 5-play, 52-yard touchdown drive ties the game at 7. And look what we see over on the Georgia sideline. It looks like a quarterback change and a 7-7 tie. Grayson Lambert, who started the game as they went with the experienced senior, last year's starter, who was only replaced once. And that turned out to be a disaster in a 27-3 loss. Well, it looks like Jacob Eason is on his way in to take over at quarterback. Now, do you think, Brock, as Eason comes out on the field and the Dog fans start to react, that this is just let's get Jacob Eason in and give him a taste of the game? Or is this a straight-up quarterback switch and Eason takes over?
This is clearly, you get hot, kid, you run with it. That's what we were told yesterday. This is not a you get one series and either you guys got to look over your shoulder. And Lambert's been sacked 3 times. He's in no rhythm. I'm looking at the video here. He's not getting the checkdowns. He's not making unbelievable checks. He's not doing anything that this kid can bring to the table. And you know what? Jacob can bring an awful lot more.
So the #1 ranked quarterback in America takes over. And it's nice to have 27 standing about 6 yards behind you if you're a true freshman in this atmosphere. And he'll hand it to him on first down. So Nick Chubb picks up 2. Now to play devil's advocate. What does this say to Grayson Lambert? You have not turned the football over. You have not made big boneheaded mistakes. It's a 7-7 tie. And you have not done enough in 1 quarter of play to justify winning the quarterback job. We're making the switch this quickly.
But you know what he brings to the table. 12 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, 1,900 yards. You know what you got there. With Jacob, there's a whole lot more. Yeah, there's a ton of risk. There's going to be lots to learn. There's nothing in the first 15 minutes here that I have seen the veteran do that the true freshman can't handle.
Eason, that's an easy completion to Terry Godwin for his first ever collegiate completion. And it's easily good for a first down as they do a terrific job, do the Dogs, of blocking for Godwin out on the edge. He picks up 23 to midfield.
Well, and here's what else it does, Bob. It excites a huddle. Not just the 50,000 Bulldog fans in this building. It gives the rest of those guys in the huddle a chance to say, yeah, hey, here comes the All-American. Here comes a kid that can throw it 75 yards. Here comes a kid that can take us some places offensively we weren't a year ago.
A little speed end around. And on the flip, it's Isaiah McKenzie. And that looks to be good for a first down. And Georgia right now in a tussle that we anticipated with North Carolina. Jumping to the outside, Nick Chubb. Close to another Georgia first down. That's a gain of 8.5. Run out by Dominique Green.
And Bob, that's a nice run, but the story, even more so to me than the two quarterbacks, is who is going to win. You're going to see a route here. This was earlier on the last possession from Georgia, and the real concern Jim Chaney had was getting in one-on-one situations and having my guys win. Carolina's corners are better. Carolina's corners are better right now than Jim Chaney's wide receivers. And Jacob Eason's game is to launch it, but he's got to have receivers that can win in one-on-one situations.
Chubb finds room. He's got another first down. Down to the 23-yard line. If wide receivers aren't winning, then why hang it on the quarterback?
That's right.
Why was there a quarterback change? And what did Grayson Lambert do
clearly,
to justify the change from the first quarter to the second quarter?
And I love you, Bob. You weren't buying anything I was selling earlier. That's what I love about the Northeast guys. He didn't do anything. He got sacked 3 times. He didn't get to checkdowns. He didn't get them into advantage plays. He really brought nothing to the table that his experience should have brought to the table in 15 minutes of work. So if he doesn't bring anything to the table, yeah, let this kid run it, and then ultimately you hope to hit a play pass and be a difference maker.
And so far, all Jacob Eason has done is hand the ball off to Nick Chubb. That's worked out pretty well, too.
And here's the 3 sacks. Here's a corner blitz, and watch the eyes. These coaches want to watch body language and eyes. And you tell me, do you see a quarterback that's having an awareness of the full field? A 50-year senior that's played 28 games, that's got his eyes down to the checkdowns and seeing everything? I don't. I see a guy that actually, if you didn't know, would look like a freshman making a start of where his eyes are. And also the impact, Bob, I think it has on his huddle and his teammates.
Now it's a true freshman, Brian Harrion. And has the eye back on second down just inside the red zone. And a toss to the true freshman. He's got another gear. Look at Harrion go to the pylon. Is he in? It is a Georgia touchdown. Welcome to Division I football, Brian Harrion.
Touchdown.
I would say Brian Harrion's career is off to a pretty good start.
I would too, and you're probably right. Grayson could make that pitch. I think we could find a middle ground, but the Bulldogs don't care. They got 7.
Yeah, you're still wrong. Very important drive, you would think, coming here for North Carolina, as they will also start the third quarter with the football. Here's T.J. Logan from the goal line, and squeezes across the 20.
In case you're wondering.
Trubinsky with a handoff to Hood. And if he can get going, that would be the dimension that North Carolina's offense needs. And does he ever? Looking like Nick Chubb with a stiff arm into plus territory. The first big impact play by Elijah Hood.
And Chris Kapilovic, the new offensive coordinator, says they script a lot of plays, and you knew this was coming. He is too good to have 2 touches through the first 25 minutes of the ball game.
Trubinsky looking downfield for Bug Howard. Out of bounds. Well, the SEC team, Adnan, has the lead here, but North Carolina is trying to strike before halftime. A check down to Elijah Hood on second down. Gains only a yard, maybe a yard and a half. Matrez Patrick was there on the stop for Georgia. So here's another big third down. Third down and about 8. Down to a minute to go in the first half. Here comes the blitz. They set up the screen behind it beautifully. Elijah Hood has a first down and more. What a great play call as the aggressive Georgia front gets robbed by the screen.
We saw it earlier. We saw the jailbreak screen. It was called a boomer bust play. You want pressure against that because if you can sneak your back out and get outside that wave of pressure, lots of yards to be had.
There's a gain of 18. Trubinsky again looking downfield, needs someone to come back and help him. Long throw to the sideline. It's Pro that comes back, gives his quarterback the help he needed. First and goal, Carolina at the 6. Here's a timeout called, and Larry Fedora, that's about as upset as you'll ever see. A coach with his team lined up in the red zone. So only one timeout left for Carolina. 30 seconds on the clock, first and goal. Trubinsky has that one deflected and almost intercepted. Davin Bellamy on the carom. Just about had a takeaway. Was that Chukwuemeka that came through and got the deflection.
And the coaching point here is Elijah, don't wait for him. He's coming across, scanning the formation. That's the back in the backfield that's got to scan all the way across, and he has an awareness of who he's blocking, but you don't want to wait. Down in this red zone, everything happens faster, including your protection.
Another blitz. Trubinsky off his back foot, a jump ball, and he might just be throwing that one away. And he was. Ryan Switzer, the intended receiver. So now it's third down and goal just outside the 5. And again, the entire playbook is at Carolina's disposal as they still do have a timeout.
It sure is, but the 6'3" go-to receiver is not. And I know we've said that 10 times in this first half. But as much man-to-man as Georgia is playing defensively, you know that's where Trubinsky would go. If Matt Collins, the leading receiver touchdown maker a year ago, was on the field, he's got to find another option. Man-to-man and pressure the first 2 snaps.
Bug Howard is 6'5" at the bottom of your screen. That's where they go. A fade to Bug Howard. Knocked away. Malcolm Parrish. Perfect coverage. And North Carolina will have to settle for 3 before halftime.
Coordinator will tell a wide receiver, it's my job to get you in a one-on-one. It's your job to win it. And that time, give a ton of credit to Malcolm Parrish. No surprise in this scheme, in this system, the background that Kirby's had at Alabama, that the secondary will be well coached. He doesn't.
As Georgia's defense bent, but they didn't break. Getting a red zone defensive stop.
And Carolina will get the ball to begin the second half as well. Get your points if you're North Carolina.
And they'll get Mac Hollins back as well. Line drive, not aesthetically pleasing, but got the job done. As Weiler knocks one through, a semifinalist for the Groza Award. Allison Williams is going to talk to Kirby Smart. You'll hear that conversation coming up at halftime. Let's join Adnan Burke, Danny Cannell, and Joey Galloway. It's the Buick Halftime Report.
Thank you very much. Kirby, take me through the decisions at quarterback. Why did you decide to put Jacob Eason in and then go back to Grayson Lambert?
Well, to be honest with you, we felt like Jacob had earned the right to play. We wanted Jacob to come in, do the things he does well, and then with Grayson going back, that was more of a 2-minute situation. We felt like he could run that operation a little bit better in the 4-minute offense right before half.
Okay, so what then is the plan with them in the second half?
We'll go in here and assess it. I think both guys are doing a good job. If we're able to run the ball and physical up front, doesn't matter who the quarterback is. We got to continue to be able to run the ball to open things up for those guys on the back end.
Kirby, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, presented by Hampton by Hilton as part of Field & Stream Store's kickoff week. Just about set for the start of the third quarter. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams here, and Georgia with a 4-point lead over the Tar Heels. Very interesting first half. Kirby Smart had a quarterback controversy through training camp. He brought that quarterback controversy, as Nick Saban, his mentor, many times has, into this opening game, playing both quarterbacks in the first half. What are your thoughts about Georgia's performance, the decision, and what to expect in the third quarter?
Yeah, I think most importantly is they've been pretty true to who they are. They played really good defense, which is why he was brought here. They've run it 28 times. They've thrown it 7. I can do that math pretty quickly. It's totally one-sided. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. And Kirby Smart has been more than animated as well.
North Carolina starts the third quarter with the football, and they will start the third quarter with arguably their most explosive perimeter player, Mac Hollins, back on the field, sitting out the first half after the carryover of the targeting penalty to finish the bowl game last year. TJ Logan swings wide, gets a block, cuts it back. TJ Logan, he's got a step. Touchdown.
Dominic Sanders, your best player defensively, jumps inside right there, loses his lane. And that's all it takes for someone as explosive as Logan. No chance for the kicker. Once Logan gained speed, and what a way to begin the second half. Score points going in, score points coming out. That's how you change momentum of football games.
A special teams touchdown puts North Carolina on top. Allison Williams, you had a chance to talk to Larry Fedora before the start of the third quarter. Not sure he saw that coming.
No, that's exactly what he told me would happen to start the half. Kidding, of course, guys. We talked about the defense. First of all, Georgia running the ball really well. He said, we've got to tackle better. It's often the case in the first game of this season. He said, guys are in position, but they're not wrapping them up. And he said, defensively up front, they have to start playing with a lower pad level. On the offensive side, he said they just haven't been able to get anything going. They need to get those first downs, play with the tempo they'd like. They're just not doing it consistently right now, and hoping for a spark from Mac Hollins back out here in the second half.
Well, they just got a spark on special teams, and Brock, to Allison's point, when your offense is struggling just a little bit, as at times Carolina's offense sputtered in the first half, you were in that position as a quarterback on a day where maybe your offense wasn't firing on all cylinders. What happens on the sideline when all of a sudden the place lights up with the special team score?
Energizes everybody. And some of that burden, that weight you feel, gets lifted a little bit. Getting your best player back offensively on the perimeter will help as well. And you said it right yesterday. As we're all sitting down meeting, we have so much time to prepare for week number one. You know every bio of every guy on offense and defense. And Bob, you said it. Said more than likely it's going to come down to special teams. We spent all these hours talking about scheme and game plan and coordinators. Very little talking about what ends up being often the most critical phase of the game, week one.
This kick ends up through the corner of the end zone, so no chance for a return. Wipe away the yardage for Georgia, and they start over on first down. Back to Nick Chubb. To the 23-yard line, a gain of a couple.
Tell you who's quietly played a very good game is Jeremiah Clark inside, number 49. I love these defensive tackles that are 6'6" and 290 and wear the low-digit numbers. He's drawn a holding call. He stopped a 3rd and 1 penetration. That time, the big man is working down the line. Gene Chizik said point blank, we will win this game if we get productivity from our defensive line. And that doesn't necessarily mean sacks and hurries and quarterback hits. That means doing your job just like Clark did right there.
Second down and 8. Chubb stays in the game. He has been terrific in his return. Lambert, play action fake to the sideline. He's got a hook up for a first down. Michael Chigbu to the 38-yard line. Carolina defensively thought that may have been an incomplete pass, and does he survive the contact to the ground? The ball pops out as he goes out of bounds. Let's see if replay buzzes down before this snap. Takes another look. Ruled a completion on the field and a first down, and Georgia gets the playoff. There's the true freshman. He had a touchdown on his first carry, and he picks up 8 on his second carry. Brian Herrien to the 45-yard line.
You don't have to do an awful lot. You're not going to ask either of these quarterbacks, I think, for a majority of the season, and he won 10 games last year without Grayson having to do much. Just 1,900 yards, 12 touchdowns, but the critical thing was 2 interceptions. Nobody better in the SEC in that regard of taking care of the football, Bob, which I know you really appreciate at that position. Your years in the NFL, job one.
Herrien for a first down and a few more. Well, I don't think there's any question in the minds of most Georgia fans that at some point this season, Jacob Eason might become the sole, complete, unquestioned starter of this Georgia offense. Obviously, his ceiling is worlds above the ceiling of Grayson Lambert. He's looked upon as a can't-miss NFL prospect at some point. But there's a reason that Kirby Smart started today with Grayson Lambert.
Yes. Communication, mechanics, managing and having awareness of some of the game situations. I thought that first quarter he played a little blind at times. Better here on this drive.
Chubb bounces it outside. He's got to step down the sideline. Another first down. Submarine by Des Lawrence, but not before he picks up 16 more.
It's a balance that comes with being built the way that Nick Chubb is. It's not a called bounce play, and North Carolina largely does their job. They clog up the middle. You want your big D linemen and everybody to hold their ground. They did. That's the patience of Nick Chubb and the experience now 3 years in a very similar system of run plays to bounce it to the outside.
The toss to Harrion. Like lightning to the 25-yard line for 5 more.
And that's the exact play he scored on. That's the you call that 48 toss crack. And you can see the motion coming across. First little indicator, because you need somebody to crack back into the formation. The tight ends have done a nice job. I'll tell you who else been unsung heroes, Christian Payne, the fullback, getting out front. And then you get the big body, their best offensive lineman, Greg Pike, at right tackle, to pull out in front as well. React off of that. And a successful play for them. And I'll tell you what comes off that very successfully is play action pass.
10th play of the drive. Play action. Lambert up against the sideline, just dirts the ball. And there's a veteran living to fight another day. 3rd down and 5. Cason Collins put pressure on Grayson Lambert.
Yeah, and there is the concern that Jim Chaney had. MJ Stewart, corner. There is not 6 inches of separation between he and the wide receiver. It is Velcro right now. With MJ Stewart and Des Lawrence, you're trying to draw up play action. You're trying to get your receivers to run away from these corners. But right now, Jim Chaney's biggest concern in the passing game has come to life.
Well, Grayson Lambert doesn't force it. Last season, only 2 interceptions the entire year. Had the 2nd lowest interception rate in SEC history. Not a big play quarterback, but also didn't make the big mistake. 3rd down here. There's the check down underneath. Well short of the first down. Charlie Werner, freshman tight end, comes up gimpy. So it's 4th down and 4.5. And here comes the field goal group to try and tie the game.
You asked me earlier, and this, by the way, a big kick for a kid making his first ever. What's it like for a quarterback to get a momentum from special teams, a turnover? It's wonderful. What's it like for a quarterback looking at Velcro down the field? It's miserable.
Here's William Ham, the redshirt sophomore, trying to replace Marshall Morgan, who was only 3rd in SEC history in scoring. His first ever field goal attempt. And he's 0 for 1.
Looks like a first-timer.
Special teams. A special teams touchdown has given North Carolina the lead. And now special teams leaves points on the field for Georgia. North Carolina has the lead by 3 because of the 3rd all-time touchdown run on a kickoff return by TJ Logan. Carolina has the lead. They have the football, and they have their full complement of weapons on the field. Mac Hollins playing for the first time at the top of your screen, the widest man to the far side left. Trubisky runs that way, just a straight quarterback keeper. And picks up close to 7 yards on first down. Lorenzo Carter made the stop.
And there's a look at Mac. 8 touchdown receptions a year ago. 3-time special teams captain, the Energizer Bunny of this offense. And a guy, if Georgia wants to play one-on-one, they better account for.
As you could see, a big play machine as he led FBS in yards per reception last year.
And that option play, a little check, something you did not see in the first half, an adjustment to Georgia's front.
Quick toss to Elijah Hood. First down. Dragged down by Bellamy, but not before he picked up plenty for the first down.
It's a pretty enormous drive here with 7.5 minutes to go. The SEC has struggled, to say the least, today. If Carolina drives at 70 more yards, 63 more yards for a touchdown, and they go up 24-14, do you know what that does to your conservative offensive game plan? Starts to really question it as time's running down.
Delayed handoff, turning the corner is Elijah Hood, breaks a tackle. That's another North Carolina first down, and then some. 19 more for Elijah Hood.
And a little more controlled pace for North Carolina, and I like this. Make sure you get to the right play. You saw the speed option earlier. That's an adjustment. Make sure everyone's on the same page on the most critical drive yet of this football game.
Over the middle, making the catch is Ryan Switzer. Gets a block from Hollins, uses the stiff arm, and goes out of bounds at the Georgia 21-yard line. Another 23 yards for the North Carolina offense.
And that is danger zone. That is strong safety Dominic Sanders, the SEC's best last year. 6 interceptions, and he is squatting right on that route. But the arm strength of Trubinsky, the velocity beats it.
Turning the corner is Logan. TJ Logan for the pylon. Touchdown. Did he step out? The official blocking our camera on the near sideline at the exact spot you might be able to tell. Here's a better look. Very close. Now, just before that touchdown drive for North Carolina, we saw Jacob Eason warming up again on the Georgia sideline. Now his presence might be necessary. His right arm might be what they need to get back in this football game, down by 2 scores. Looks like Eason's coming back in. Georgia about to get the football back, and it looks like they're going to go back to the true freshman at quarterback.
Could they ever use a spark here on kickoff return? Not even a touchdown or game-changing play as Carolina did, just positive field position.
This one returnable for Reggie Davis, but he'll take a knee. Looked like he was about to, on the dead run, bring it out. And he'll toss to another true freshman, Brian Harrion. A yard, maybe 2. Asen Collins, Malik Carney combined on the tackle for North Carolina.
It's now the 4th time you've run that toss crack play, and you can see Carolina getting a little better with each and every rep.
At what point, if you're Georgia, do you start to think differently about your game plan and how you attack this Carolina defense?
4th quarter. Play this drive out. As you said, now there's a whole lot more pressure on Jacob Eason, down 10 in a run-first mindset.
They run it again with Nick Chubb. It'll be 3rd down. 3rd down and 5 coming for Georgia.
And you can just feel this building. You can feel the Carolina defense, the much maligned Carolina defense that was embarrassed their last 2 times out in the run game, playing a whole lot better today. Yards per carry, getting better as the game's going on instead of wearing down. And the swag that comes with 2 corners that can cover. When you got guys on the outside that can lock you down, man, it squeezes this entire field.
He's going to take another shot. Broken up. Flag out. Patrice Renee on Jason Stanley. And that's a true freshman in coverage for North Carolina. That will be called for pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense number 5. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
There's no technical face guarding in college football. But if you do not allow that receiver to come back to the ball, you're going to get the penalty. And that's a freshman. You could see Patrice get his eyes back early. He was trying. If he turns his head one more time, right, and there's some of that same contact, more than likely doesn't draw the penalty. But by not allowing that receiver his chance, and good job of Jacob keeping that ball in play, and giving that referee the opportunity to make that call.
This is the first time I think they put Jacob Eason in an empty backfield. 5 wide, straight throw out of the shotgun. He has time. He delivers a bullet that's dropped. Riley Ridley, another true freshman. And off to Chubb on 2nd down. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Here's a little chess match for Gene Chizik and John Papuchis up there as well. 2 guys that can draw up defense and coverage as well as anybody. And Jim Chaney, who's a good architect of creating matchups, as Chizik said, an NFL kind of mindset of getting personnel into the matchup he wants. You've had no luck on the veterans. Keep picking on the freshmen.
And this area of the field, are you thinking it might be 4-down territory?
You're getting awfully close if this is a positive yardage play.
Let's see what happens on 3rd and 7. Another blitz coming from North Carolina. Lobbing it down the sideline. Again, it's underthrown. Rene is there, and he's going to draw another flag. Patrice Rene, almost identical to the deep ball that Jacob Eason threw downfield when he was in coverage, and did not allow the receiver to fight his way back to the football. Again, is called for pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense number 5. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. 1st down.
That's Larry Fedora, and Rene this time you can see he's fighting to get his head back. Watch, he's fighting to find the ball, but I don't know about that. You've got to give these guys a little bit of liberty. They're not going to play it perfectly every single time. Did that contact inhibit the receiver from going and catching the ball? That one's 50-50. The first, 100%. That one's 50-50, but the true freshman's learning really quickly with 2 other good corners. I'm the one that's going to get picked on.
Another empty backfield for Jacob Eason. Wide receiver hitch. Caught by Reggie Davis. Inside the 25, out of bounds at the 23-yard line for a gain of 5.
That empty formation simplifies the game. I think many people would think, oh, you get into empty in these exotic sets. It doesn't. Number 1, he ran this in high school, a spread system where he threw it all over the yard at Lake Stevens. Number 2, it takes guys out of the box. It takes a whole bunch of blitzes and corner blitzes and safety blitzes and zone blitzes out of the equation. The box count, the number count, gets a whole lot simpler and easier when you're in empty.
And now back to playing in a phone booth with Brian Harry and a tailback. 3rd down and 2 coming up after Harrion gets it to the 20-yard line. As we come up on 2:15 to go in the 3rd quarter.
2 pass interference penalties have certainly aided this drive, but what a response from the true freshman. This is why they're so excited. It's not about all the arm and what he's done in the past. It's about at every turn in the spring and this fall. He earned the right, as Kirby Smart said at halftime to us, he's earned the right to go out and play. This is exactly what you wanted out of a true freshman responding 10 points down.
3rd down and 2. Nick Chubb back in the game as the I-back. They toss it to their star. Blockers in front. He cuts it back, and he's got a 1st down. Just enough to get it across the 1st down line to gain. Now it's Georgia's turn in the red zone to try and make it a 1-score game. Again, that's 8 Carolina players up pretty close to the line of scrimmage. And there's a little jet sweep. Isaiah McKenzie gets to the edge. At the pylon, is he in? It looks like they'll mark him out at the half-yard line. He hit the pylon, but apparently stepped out just shy of the goal line. Let's take another look. Touchdown. They'll have to take a look at that. That looks like he hits the pylon before he lands out of bounds. That should be a Georgia touchdown.
He got it wrong. And you know what? This is what instant replay is for. So they could correct it and get it right.
And the ball didn't travel a long way, but that's the first touchdown pass for Jacob Eason. That little forward toss goes down, at least in the statistics, as a forward pass. Where, in truth, that's just a jet sweep that they run and give it to a playmaker, and he went and made a play. And we've got a field goal lead again. 11 plays, 75 yards on the drive for Georgia. And the new head coach likes what he sees.
But the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the Pac-12 are just not as far behind as they once were.
They're trying to keep it away from T.J. Logan. Here's Chris Francis up against the sideline. That is a terrific kickoff by Rodrigo Blankenship. As that will pin North Carolina to the 12-yard line to start for Trubinsky. He'll throw. Hit as he throws. Still unloads it into double coverage. Incomplete. He was trying for the big play to Mac Hollins. Lorenzo Carter put pressure on Trubinsky.
Well, I told you about the other side and the true freshman with Eason in a shot play, and I want to predetermine where I'm going. Oh, take a look at this. Take a look at Ryan Switzer. He wants to go to Hollins. He wants to get him involved. But that's a combo coverage. He splits, and he's wide open, and Switzer knows it.
Play action again. There's the slant. Austin Prohl, flag down. That's a first down if the play stands.
That could be men downfield. And the right tackle, John Heck, that's awfully close. You've got about 3 yards, and Larry Fedora is going to lose his mind if they call this.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. Keep second down.
Did they just drop another flag on Larry Fedora?
Sure did.
For coming out on the field and arguing. It looks like one of the officials going to tack on a penalty on the Carolina head coach.
Dead ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Head coach of North Carolina. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. And keep second down. This is the first unsportsmanlike conduct call against the head coach.
So here's your right tackle, John Heck. And he's got a 3-yard buffer. He cannot go past about that 15-yard line. And I'll tell you what, Larry Fedora has an argument. It's 3.5 yards. You get a little grace period. That was about 2.5, and that ball is out. On a call that's 50-50 if you make any way, and you seldom, and most of the time, you see them not call it. He gets the call. I told you he was going to lose his mind. He lost his poise, and his team has lost every advantage of momentum and field position.
So after the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Larry Fedora for arguing a call that turns out to be probably a bad call, 2nd and 18 from the end zone. Trubinsky in trouble, throws it, caught. That's going to be a safety. They set up the screen to Elijah Hood in the end zone. And it's a safety and 2 points for the Dogs. Makes it a 1-point game.
You got to have poise, Bob. As a quarterback, as a head coach, as a play caller, a screen pass in your own end zone, dangerous. You can throw it right at the feet, and you should have. Mitch Trubinsky has got to throw that right at the feet of Elijah Hood, or Elijah has got to drop it. If it's coming to him, throw it down like a hot potato. You can't call it, and if you execute it like that, well, you're deserving of the safety against you.
Take a deep breath. You're basically starting fresh, but the scoreboard is still in North Carolina's favor. Let's head down to Allison.
Bob, that shift in momentum and energy was palpable before the safety. That's the loudest this Georgia fan base has been all night. You could see the players on the field waving their arms. They were going nuts on the sidelines. And then they scored the safety. You can really feel just the change in energy and momentum down here on the sidelines.
We knew this was going to be an incredible game decided in the fourth quarter, and that's exactly what we're getting.
Here's Isaiah McKenzie on the return of the free kick. He can fly. Gets out to the 40-yard line. So great field position towards the end of the third quarter now for the Dogs. A wildcat formation as Terry Godwin lines up to take the direct snap. First time we've seen this. They'll run a little read option, and Godwin jitterbugs to the sideline and gains 6.
You've also noticed something here with a veteran play caller and offensive coordinator, and I know I've referenced Jim Chaney at least a dozen times, but you feel his poise. 28-7 run to pass in that first half. This is Alabama Kirby Smart football. This is why that pairing to me was so good and a tremendous hire. We're not going to get flustered. You don't win a game in the first or the second or the third quarter. You win it by wearing out your opponent and getting to some of your unique plays and adjustments when it matters the most in the fourth.
Back to Nick Chubb. Third down and a yard and a half coming up to start the fourth quarter. What a game here at the Georgia Dome. We head to the fourth quarter. Only 1 point separating North Carolina and Georgia. The Bulldogs and Kirby Smart in his debut trying to retake the lead. It is serene outside. It is anything but that inside the Georgia Dome. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game between Georgia and North Carolina. We head to the fourth quarter. Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewert, Allison Williams down on the field. And a huge play to begin the fourth quarter. Third down and a yard and a half just shy of midfield. Another blitz coming from North Carolina. He looks for the home run to McKenzie. He's got it down the sideline. Huge play for the Dogs. First down in the red zone.
Where can I create matchup advantages? The guy they called the human joystick on a linebacker, game over. And Eason knew he had it the whole way. Looked down the middle like a savvy old vet, didn't stare it down, and you can't throw it any better than that.
And you love the leadership and experience of Grayson Lambert. Grayson Lambert isn't making that throw. That is Jacob Eason's arm talent making a huge play. Nick Chubb back in. That's the biggest play from either offense in the game after the penalty. Eason play action, and he's sacked. Well, that time he had no chance to look downfield. Mikey Bart comes around right in and knocks Eason down all the way back at about the 28-yard line.
Yeah, and that's the first call I really question here. That's Mikey Bart right at the top against Tyler Catalina, the transfer from Rhode Island, and he gets beat right off the snap. A longer developing play and going backwards with a true freshman kicker that's already pulled one. Not advantageous.
So after the 51-yard bomb that is completed by Jacob Eason, 2nd and 22 after the penalty and the sack. Up the middle. There's the true freshman again. An impact play by Brian Harrion. All the way down to the 12-yard line. Brings up a huge third down in the red zone for Georgia. Remember, they have a freshman kicker, or rather a redshirt sophomore kicker, that has never made a field goal in competition. He's already missed today. That's William Ham. So if you don't pick up the first down here, you're bringing William Ham back in the game to try and give your team the lead in the fourth quarter.
It's a problem area a year ago. Just 42% scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Just 12 touchdowns on the season for Grayson Lambert in 12 starts.
Pistol formation. True freshman at quarterback, true freshman at tailback. Play action. Throws it to the back pylon. That carries out of bounds. Terry Godwin, the intended receiver. Well, now Kirby Smart has no choice but to send a field goal unit out there. Again, William Ham, the redshirt sophomore, trying to replace Marshall Morgan. Missed this field goal from 42 earlier.
That was here as a freshman, walked away as a redshirt, walked away. And they convinced him to come back, to fight for the spot. He's earned the right here. The big 0 for 1 and a hook earlier. In his mind, he's at least on the right hash mark if he wants to play that draw.
And this one from only 29 to give Georgia the lead with 5.5 minutes to go. Line drive, but he's got it. Good for William Ham. Now North Carolina gets the football back when we return, down by 2. The Georgia Bulldogs at one point in the second half down by 10 have come back to take the lead 26-24 after they kick it to TJ Logan, who already has a kickoff return for a touchdown in the game. They will. Logan from the 1. Flag down, and he won't even get to the 15-yard line. Flags thrown everywhere. This is supposed to be a neutral field game. You think Mitch Trubinsky thinks this is a neutral field game with 5:21 to go? Elijah Hood, nothing on first down.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Mitch Trubinsky, I'm talking to myself before that snap and saying, Bob, this is why I stuck around. And I didn't quit on this program. And most guys leave when they don't play. I'm a redshirt junior, and I'm built for this moment. You've got to be saying nothing, but I am built for this moment right now to silence this crowd and take advantage of this opportunity with less than 5 to go.
And he is a guy you'd root for that exact reason. Could have left when Marquise Williams won the job. Stayed, and now he's throwing from the goal line. And has a hookup to Bug Howard. Close to the first down. Forward progress about a yard shy. 3rd down and 1.
And if Mitch Trubinsky is who this staff believes he is, this moment will not be too big for him.
They roll the pocket. Simple pitch and catch for the first down with a flag thrown in the secondary. And Ryan Switzer just couldn't put the brakes on fast enough to roll upfield, or else he might have picked up 10 more. But it looks like this call's going to go against North Carolina. And Chukwuemeka injured as well. Another Georgia injury.
Pass interference. Offense, number 13. Penalized half the distance to the goal line from the previous spot. Repeat 3rd down.
Obviously, Larry Fedora doesn't agree. Brock, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a challenge, and I think that they got this one right. This is unfortunate. Receiver's job. You want to rub the defender off, but you can't run into him. It's your job. If he simply avoids, or you swim, or you make any effort to get out of the way of the DB, you're not going to get that call. But unfortunately, Mac Hollins at 6'4", I don't think he was intentionally trying to run in, but he certainly did not intentionally try to avoid. And when that's the case, you're going to get flagged.
If you just run, though, as Mac Hollins seemed to, on a straight line there,
and you run right into the defender,
I'm sure that's exactly the case that Larry Fedora is trying to make.
It sure is.
He didn't seek a player out to try and go block him.
Nope, but
he just ran in a straight line.
He's also got to feel the amount of space that he had and try to avoid.
So after the penalty, instead of a first down for North Carolina, it's 3rd and 9. Trubinsky, long throw to the sideline, coming back to make the catch. Is he in bounds? Mac Hollins, yes he is. Where do they spot the football? He might be a foot short. Jawan Briscoe stayed with Hollins, but it looks like he is a half-yard shy of the first down.
He is in bounds. The ball can touch the ground if he still controls it through the impact to the ground.
Review. In the process of making the catch and going to the ground, ball hit the ground. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down at the 8-yard line.
Call reversed.
So the ball hitting the ground. The ball can hit the ground. The ball can, as I understand it, the ball can touch the ground. You have to have control. So I believe what the referee is saying there with the replay is the ball hit the ground when it wobbled. That he lost enough little control that it hit the ground when it wobbled, and that's the incompletion.
And that, again, is an example of football fans watching our game right now at home saying, what is a catch? Well, They've tried to write the rule to make it as black and white as they can, and they've almost legislated it to a point that what really looks like a catch your whole life, watching football, turns out not to be a catch. Pretty good punt, heading the wrong direction is Isaiah McKenzie. Now he gets a block, and now he gets planted. Donnie Miles made the special team stop. 42-yard punt, and McKenzie lost 4 on the return. A toss to Nick Chubb. Blockers out in front. He's got a crease. Nick Chubb, eyes on the end zone. Touchdown! This is the second highest rushing total for Nick Chubb, and it comes in his return from his knee basically exploding last year. That awful hit that he took on the first play of the Tennessee game. What a return. 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 2-score Georgia lead.
Mitch Trubisky's got his hands full now as this stadium's going to be rocking. Top end speed, check. Better in the fourth quarter than he is the first quarter, check.
Now, if there is an offense for one of these two teams that is built for this situation, it's North Carolina. 3.5 minutes and all 3 timeouts, and TJ Logan bringing it back. Let's go down to Allison.
As Nick Chubb bearing the fruits of the work that he put in to get back on the field, and he does not forget that it wasn't that long ago that he was laying on that field at Tennessee, and he posted this Instagram picture saying strength does not come from physical capacity, it comes from indomitable will, and that is what we are seeing tonight from Nick Chubb. You know, nobody works harder than him.
And I also know he's an incredibly humble guy, and he's going to give an immense amount of credit to Christian Payne, his fullback Greg Pike, his right tackle. They've run the same play over and over and over. They didn't need a trick pass off of it. They needed a commitment to it, a conviction to it. And it's the biggest play yet of this game.
3.5 minutes to go, though. North Carolina has all 3 timeouts, but they need 2 scores. Trubisky underneath. Diving catches made by Hollins. That'll roll the clock. Gain of 6.
And you got to go. You got all 3 timeouts, and anything really short of the sticks, as quick as you play tempo-wise, this has got to be as fast as you can go.
Valuable seconds ticking off as Trubisky gets his team set. Long throw to the sideline, wide open was Austin Kroll, but that ball sailed on Trubisky. That brings up 3rd down. Well, it's all 4-down territory now for North Carolina, needing 2 scores. Only a 3-man rush. Right at the 1st down marker, it's Bug Howard. And that will be good enough to move the chains for the Heels.
3 senior wide receivers. Howard's a senior, Switzer's a senior, Mac Hollins is a senior, Trubisky's a redshirt junior. They should have a tremendous plan for this moment. And it starts with not wasting a second.
Check down, wide open. Ryan Switzer steps out of bounds. That's a gain of 9, and it stops the clock with 2:34 to go. And the clock starts again as they set the ball ready for play. Trubisky gets his team ready to go. Low throw, but it's good for a 1st down to Elijah Hood. So that will stop the clock again for a moment with 2:17 remaining.
But again, once they reset, watch from 17 just how quickly they can get to their next play. Well done.
5-man rush. Trubinsky. Again, it's Switzer. Right at the first down marker. That looks to be good for another North Carolina first down, a gain of 10.
And all the while conserving these. Have done so the entire second half. All 3 timeouts.
And you don't have to have the touchdown on this drive. You just need points to make it a one-score game. 4-man rush. Trubinsky steps up. Check down to Hood. Has a blocker and has a first down. Down to 1:37 to go.
These kids are playing their guts out on both sides. What a tremendous amount of energy from both teams tonight.
Trubinsky down the sideline into double coverage. Bug Howard out of bounds. That's the first time on this drive that North Carolina has forced the issue a bit. Screen. Logan. Nothing. And it rolls the clock. A worst case scenario for North Carolina. They're going to have to spend another timeout.
That's a danger with the check down. That's a danger with the screen. I'm trying to get a first down right here.
But it can't take you more than another 30, maybe 40 seconds to get in the end zone. Or else you'll still not have enough time on the back end, even if you recover an onside kick, to get in the field goal range. So much goes into these play calls. Trubinsky, that comes out sideways. And they'll rule that an incomplete pass. Lorenzo Carter deflected it. Well, now do you send Weiler out to try a career-long field goal to make it a one-score game, or do you go for it on 4th down?
Our impact player came to life, Bob. One of the first times we have seen Lorenzo Carter, and that time beating Elijah Hood. And watching Weiler in warm-ups, this is outside his range. Career-long 48.
Trubinsky, long throw to the sideline, out of bounds. And that will end it. Kirby Smart, barring a miracle, is going to come away a winner in his debut on the sidelines as the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. And you have to wonder, now it's 2020 hindsight, do you kick the field goal there if you're North Carolina to try and keep the game alive, at least attempt a field goal?
We're on the same page. I think you and I take that field goal, make it a one-score game, and come down to an onside kick and have enough time to do what you want. But ultimately, Kirby's guys covered better. Part of the reason he brought him here, all-conference safety way back when, he knew he had some good personnel on the back end of this defense. Sure helps when he got Maurice Smith to transfer over. But there was nowhere for Trubinsky to throw, and unfortunately on 4th and 5, you just got to throw it up somewhere in bounds and give one of your guys an opportunity to make a play.
And it's Grayson Lambert out there for victory formation. And both of these teams are in what would be considered the weaker division of their 2 respective leagues. So they could both find themselves in a conference championship game.
Yep.
And would it come down at the end of the season to this win over North Carolina for Kirby Smart's team for something really special to happen? You never know.
A tremendous 4th quarter game. Down 24-14, didn't flinch. Played a true freshman in that moment. Did not waver from the game plan. Nick Chubb was going to finish this thing in the 4th quarter. That was the plan all the way. I love I-Right. 48 toss crack 8 times and 2 touchdown runs. I know Herschel does, as I said earlier, somewhere as well. That's the kind of Bulldog brand and identity he wants to build, and a tremendous start for Kirby in his career.
The final score, 33-24. Kirby Smart wins in his Georgia debut. A terrific win over North Carolina. Even more college football coming now. Clemson and Auburn underway. Brett Musburger and Jesse Palmer.